Hello and welcome everyone to a very, very special episode of the Sports Gossip Show.
Yes, we really had no choice but to record this episode because there was an event last week that led to Madeline and to me getting more messages than we get on our birthdays.
I got more messages in the past 7 days than I did when I got engaged and married combined.
Easily.
I'm not exaggerating.
Which I'm like, do we need more friends? I don't know.
Maybe.
No, but this is about Bill Belichick and his young girlfriend, Jordon Hudson. We're going to give you the full timeline of their relationship because we have been talking about their relationship since we started this show.
Yeah, and I would say we are the foremost experts on their relationship.
Right, on what's publicly available.
Well, yeah.
Because no one will get back to you.
No one will get back to us.
Yes, that is true. And also this is bigger than just two people. This is not she's a 24-year-old person, and we understand that. This is not just piling on to anybody here. We are looking at this through a critical lens.
And this story is much bigger than just what they posted on Instagram and when they went to the Super Bowl, what did they wear? It's bigger than that.
It reveals a lot. I don't want to sound dramatic.
Say it.
But it kind of tells you everything you need to know about gender dynamics in the United States at this moment.
Correct. And we're going to get into everything. Obviously, the basic timeline of events, when they started dating, how they met, all the questions that you very kindly submitted to us. But we're also going to get into some new information that we discovered in the process of researching for this episode.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Let the games begin.
Hi, Charlotte.
Hey, Madeline.
We are back.
Woo.
Oh
With
my
a
God.
Doozy of an episode.
Doozy of an episode, but also maybe my favorite episode, and we haven't even started talking
We
about
haven't
the
even
topic
done it yet. So obviously at the top of the show, we explained what we're doing here. The thing that caused us to get so many messages was that news broke that Bill Belichick, 72-year-old head coach of the UNC University of North Carolina football team, former head coach of the Patriots, won 8 Super Bowl rings, blah, blah, blah. His girlfriend, Jordon Hudson, 24. We'll get into the history of how they met. She appears to have She's on all the emails now.
She's on all the emails, which is something that we already suspected months ago.
Yes. Can you explain why this became such a big story last week?
Yes. So this story came out not because the reporter was looking for it. A higher ed reporter named Matt Hartman from the Assembly was writing about UNC's athletic budget. Mm-hmm. And in this reporting, Matt discovered an email that Bill Belichick had sent to a UNC comms person that read, "Thank you for the email. I am including Jordon on this email so she can also keep up with our postings. Can you include her on anything you send to me? Thank you."
Okay. This exploded the internet. This is what all these outlets picked it up, saying that Bill Belichick requests that his girlfriend is on all of these emails. I think that it's not just social posts. I think she was also on emails about interview requests.
Correct.
For Bill. And we knew this.
Yeah.
We figured this out in October.
Yeah.
That she's probably running his social media.
Yeah, and we figured that out because we realized that Bill was posting Instagram posts. Number one, period. He was posting, period.
He got on Instagram.
He got on Instagram.
Which he had famously been averse to.
Famously averse. But then also he had accepted collaboration posts on Instagram, which there is no way Bill Belichick knew how to do that.
So this confirms what we had suspected, which was that she is involved with his social media. There's also been reporting that Pablo Torre, on his show, Pablo Torre Finds Out, he found out that she seems to, according to some people who know Bill, be acting as his sort of manager.
Yep.
But I think in order for all of this to make sense, I think we got to walk people through their whole relationship. Because if you haven't been here since the beginning of our show, late last year when we started talking about this, you might not have a full, complete picture of how all of this came to be. So here it is, the comprehensive timeline of Jordon Hudson and Bill Belichick's relationship, according to what we could publicly find on the internet. So
Let's get into it.
Great. We sound like we're laughing. It's
because we have been.
We just really cracked each other up, and now we have to be serious.
We're serious journalists.
We're serious journalists. Okay.
So Jordon and Bill meet on a plane in 2021. That's the story.
That's the public story.
Public story.
I have a lot of questions about it because so Bill has a lot of money. I would assume he would fly private. They were flying from Massachusetts to Florida.
Correct.
So if he wasn't flying private, well, I assume Jordon wasn't flying private, then was he sitting in coat? Like, I just, the logistics of this plane ride are confusing to me.
Well, that's a great question. So in a photo that was obtained by TMZ, I think around the time that this happened, or maybe it was later, I don't know. It's a selfie that Jordon took with Bill. We will insert it here because we now know how to insert photos.
Yes. And for the audio audience, it's the two of them on a plane.
Two of them on a plane. It's just like it looks like a fan selfie on a plane.
Yes.
And zooming in on the back of the seat, I think it looks like a Delta comfort seat.
See, but there's like a, I don't think so because there, it looks red, but I think that's a red herring, if you will, because you can see a little stripe of orange. Okay. Which is JetBlue. And also, Madeline, I'm such a sicko that recently Jordon posted on her story a picture of her on a plane, and it looked like JetBlue seats.
Oh, my God. You're so right. So, it was JetBlue.
So it's like some sort of like comfort JetBlue, whatever the equivalent
that's
is.
What it looks like. It doesn't look like first class on JetBlue.
Right. Okay.
But, okay, great catch. Great catch.
So there's a textbook involved.
Yes. So at the time, Jordon got her textbook signed by Bill Belichick. And what was the textbook, you asked?
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you brought that up. It was deductive logic. And we know this because it was leaked at the time, but also because she later posted in February of this year, February 11th, 2025, Happy Meetiversary, Bill Belichick. Cheers to the fact that you still let me give you lengthy philosophical lectures 4 years later.
Wow.
He signed the textbook, thanks for giving me a course on logic, and we know that because she posted a video of the book.
Yep.
I would like to make it clear that Bill Belichick only broke up with his longtime girlfriend, Linda Holliday, in September 2023.
Yeah, so that would have
been... But they
met
2021, and she's posting like Happy Meetiversary, Jordon is, so...
Yeah. Do with that information what you will.
Okay.
So then, flash forward a little bit. Jordon and Bill were first spotted together in January of 2023 in New Orleans. They're walking through the French Quarter.
Okay. All right.
Flash forward a little bit to September of 2023. They are spotted in New Orleans again. And there's video footage and photos from both instances in New Orleans.
They go to New Orleans a lot.
They love New Orleans, apparently.
And the Super Bowl this year was there. And they...
Oh, weird. Yeah.
Maybe they were practicing.
For what?
I don't know. For their debut. I don't know. So as we said, Bill breaks up with, or Bill and Linda's split becomes public.
Yeah.
They had been dating since 2007. Linda, was acted as a wife, as a wag. Ran the foundation, the Bill Belichick Foundation with him. I met them together at Gronk's beach party in 2020.
Of course you did.
Yeah, not to brag. And her kids went to the same high school, the same prep school that Bill had gone to, Andover. So, there was a lot of ties there. They'd been together for a while.
Right.
And it was just like, they're done. We don't know, however, that was when it was announced. We don't know when the split actually happened.
Yeah. And as a reminder, Jordon and Bill met in 2021.
Yes.
And the split was announced officially in 2023.
Okay. So talk to me about, this was probably one of the more explosive sports gossip things of 2023 was when footage leaked of Bill Belichick leaving someone's house without a shirt on in the morning on a Ring camera. One of those things that you put outside your door. I mean, I don't know. I live in an apartment and we don't have Ring cams.
No,
but
it wouldn't be
it's like
very
a suburban thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a suburban thing.
I don't know.
Yes. So there's footage of Bill shirtless leaving this house. It was later revealed to allegedly be where Jordon Hudson lives.
Okay.
So many questions. Number one, how did media outlets obtain this footage? Did they hack Jordan's Ring camera?
So, okay, several options here. She's roommates.
Okay, yeah.
And the roommate saw it and leaked it. She leaked it herself. She sent it to a friend who leaked it.
Interesting.
I also, are we like sure this was her house? I mean, if it's not her house, then it means that Bill was with somebody else at the time that he was supposed to be with her. So I feel like it's her.
I feel like it's her. Yeah.
So the TMZ is like, the devil works hard, but TMZ works harder.
They work
hard.
How
do they do it?
They have a lot of sources
people.
and pay people.
Right.
My thing that's so funny about the entire situation is him leaving the house shirtless like he was in a hurry.
Right.
Where was he going, Bill?
You didn't.
Were you late?
It's like you always have time to put a shirt on.
Exactly.
Wait, yeah. It's true. It's like it takes I could put a shirt on right now in 1 second. I mean, I have a shirt on.
Do you think he was late to like a coaching job interview and was like, I gotta go immediately. I'm gonna raw dog it in the car with my seatbelt just on my bare chest.
Madeline. Or do you think he like was he like, oh, I'm so sexy, I don't need a shirt?
I don't like it. I don't like it, whatever the answer is.
Okay, so this
anyways.
Yeah, all right. This came up again. Let's fast forward to May of 2024. The roast of Tom Brady on Netflix, which was crazy. And where
for so many different reasons.
I just really quickly, something that like I think about probably once a week is the fact that all of these comedians got up there and roasted Tom Brady and his kids and his ex-wife Gisele Bündchen, and the thing that he chose to get up there and get upset about was when they made a joke about Patriots owner Robert Kraft going to a massage parlor for something other than a massage. Yeah. That was the only time that he was like, hey man, you crossed the line.
Knock it off.
Anyway.
Like, okay. Yes. So at the roast, Rob Gronkowski made a joke.
Former tight end of the Patriots.
Thank you.
Yep.
Made a joke referencing that Bill is dating a younger woman.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Now walk me through late summer 2024.
So this, Madeline, this is where I think we started doing our social media sleuthing and getting very interested in this, because it was when social media became involved that I think not only has it made it feel like it is fair game to talk about, because Jordan and Bill themselves have been posting so much about their relationship, but because Bill Belichick famously, he was the head coach of my favorite NFL team for 23 years?
Yeah.
I know this man. I thought I knew this man. I thought I knew this man's public persona. And as a result, I thought I knew his private persona. And maybe we didn't. He's changed. Maybe we'll get into that later. But he would make fun of social media. He famously, I worked at Boston.com, a subsidiary of the Boston Globe, when in 2014, 2015. And I remember writing an article about how he would say Instaface or Snapface, pretending not to know the name of these social media sites. And people would be like, when are you going to join? He'd be like, when hell freezes over. I mean, not really, but
energetically.
That was the vibe.
Yeah.
Bill joins Instagram in September of 2024. And we were like,
huh? Clock it. Put a pin in it.
At the same time, a few weeks earlier, Jordon Hudson posts the first picture of Bill. And it is the post, I have it seared into my brain, is a summation of summer is the caption. And the first photo is her in a hat on a boat. I think it's Bill's boat.
For sure.
Bill shows up later. Also, his boat's called, I think, 8 Rings.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Why would it be called anything else?
Right. So Bill joins Instagram and he puts these videos that kind of look like hostage videos where he's like, hey, like when Tom Brady there's something he's congratulating Tom for, and he's like, I want to congratulate you, Tom. And you're just like, what is happening?
What is going on? Well, now we know what's going on.
Right.
Which is that Jordan probably helped him join Instagram and was the one who convinced him to join.
Because he also posted a very, very weird announcement that had a green background with cracked. We were just like, what? That Bill cannot be doing this.
No.
And he wasn't. Because later, I guess, early fall.
Yeah.
This is the post that made everything clear to us. This is the post from a corn maze in Massachusetts.
And the corn maze post would have been innocuous. I mean, it would have been weird, I guess, but it wouldn't have really caught our attention other than the fact that, again, as I said at the beginning of this episode, that it was a collaboration post.
Which, for
On
those of you
Instagram.
who don't know what that means that it has multiple, the author of the post is multiple different people. So it shows up on people's feeds as if they themselves had posted it.
Yeah, correct.
And the thing about this is it's a picture of people who work at the corn maze. I should preface this by saying this is a corn maze designed in the shape of Bill Belichick's head, as if he had a headset on from when he was coaching.
Because that is an attraction.
That's Massachusetts, baby.
That is Massachusetts.
And for that, Madeline, I will not apologize. That is the best part of this whole story, that there's a corn maze out there in the shape of Bill Belichick's head with a headset on.
Oh my God.
So he signs the football to West End Creamery, best farm in New England. Bill Belichick, 8-time Super Bowl champion. I should note, that is what he wrote in Jordan's textbook. He wrote Bill Belichick, 8-time Super Bowl champion in a sophomore in college's textbook the first time they met.
That's insane.
This is like his it's like an email signature, but in real life.
Do you think he has that trademarked?
We should try to trademark it. See if we can.
Okay, Pat Riley.
Yeah, but 3P.
If you know anything, Pat Riley, GM for the Miami Heat, trademarked 3-peat, which the Chiefs were famously trying to win a third Super Bowl, which they did not win, and so they couldn't use the trademark.
Yeah,
but they did get the right.
He said they could, but they couldn't because they lost.
Yeah. Anyways,
So anyway, back to the corn maze.
back to the corn maze at hand.
So it's a little. This is where you start to question, at least for me, everything I thought I knew about Bill Belichick.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like for you as a lifelong Patriots fan, you're like, I don't know this man who has been a huge integral part of my life.
1000%. I was like this also as a reporter, as
Right.
someone who like covered the Patriots at the height of their late dynasty. I was like, is everything I know a lie? Like, what is,
What is true?
And this is why we started to get very interested in this. And we looked at, first of all, you were just like, there's no way he knows how to do a collab
No, there's no
post.
way. As someone who has worked in social media for quite a long time, like doing a collaboration post is not like a basic social media skill that just like the average 72-year-old knows how to do.
No, you
let
have-
alone the average just person.
Right. You have to go into your messages. You
To
have
accept
to
it, yeah.
accept it, but sometimes it takes a second. You're like, did it? Like sometimes I'm even like, I don't
Right.
know what I'm doing.
Right.
But we also analyze the captions.
Yeah.
And the way that Jordon Hudson writes her captions is very, very similar to the way that Bill Belichick's captions appear.
Yeah.
And that sometimes means using big words that don't necessarily fit exactly what's going on,
Right.
means 3 exclamation points.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of similarities, although she did later post a text from Bill in which there were 3 exclamation points. So that part, I'm like, is Bill a 3 exclamation point guy?
Well, then maybe that's why they're a match.
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay, tell me what happened with the Boston radio host, because I don't know about this piece of information.
Well, that's because I figured it out 5 minutes before you came over to record this podcast.
Cool.
Because you know how she's posted recently on her story? She posted a picture of herself in the mirror, a mirror selfie, and she has her hand out like a claw, and she had a gif of like bear claw scratches coming out of it.
Okay.
She said, "Poke the bear, get blank," and I'm like, okay. This is because Bridgewater State, the cheerleading team she was on at the college she went to, they're the Bears.
Okay.
So that factors in here. Also, during the Super Bowl, she was wearing a championship ring. People thought she was wearing one of Bill's Super Bowl rings. It was actually her ring from a national championship that she won as a cheerleader.
Right.
And a radio station, Kiss 108 in Boston, which I grew up listening to on the way to school, which is very funny part of this whole thing. Someone on that radio station, a morning host, said it wasn't that impressive that Jordan won a cheerleading championship because Bridgewater State was D3, and she said something like, I could join. I could be on that team. So that's when Jordan posts, there's like a period in time in the fall of 2024 where Jordan's posting a lot about her cheerleading and her championship rings, and I was like, this feels random, but it was because she was goading the Boston radio station, and apparently Bill chimed in to defend her, or was I think it was that he was just posted on one of her Instagram stories wearing a like Go Bears Bridgewater State shirt, and outlets picked it up as like Bill defends Jordan.
I mean, I feel like he's endorsing
Yeah.
his lady. Okay. I'll give him that. It's funny, but I'll give him that.
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
So talk to me about Halloween.
So Halloween.
This is where our heads exploded.
Things get a little strange.
Yeah.
So Jordan dressed up as him with the Giants, which, because as a reminder, he was a defensive coordinator, right?
Yeah.
For the Giants, something like that.
Something like that.
I don't know.
I should know.
Why?
I'm
That's
exhausted.
like, could you imagine dressing up like your husband's old employer for Halloween?
No, let alone my boyfriend.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what?
Exactly. And then she dressed up as a mermaid. We'll get back to the mermaid thing in a minute. I do need to talk about the mermaids in a second. And he was a fisherman. You probably saw this photo. They're on the beach posing. She is posing like a mermaid, I guess you could say.
Yeah, she's posing like a mermaid. Also, it seems like this was in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Because they go to Florida a lot.
Yeah.
But it's not a Florida beach. So I'm like, she's in a mermaid tail on a cold beach in October. You can't get me to go in the water in New England past September.
No.
Let alone be in a bikini lying on a beach. Do you know how cold
It's
the
so
sand
cold.
gets when it's wet?
No.
It's insane.
No.
So Bill is also dressed up as like an old fisherman, which seems to just be accentuating their age gap.
Yeah, I don't think it helped.
Right.
It didn't help. But you know what? You do that if you're Jordan Hudson. You do that pose.
Yes.
You make your boyfriend do this shot if you're Jordan Hudson.
And if you're Bill Belichick, you go with it.
Exactly. I think what we had said at the time, which I still think is true, is that he was down bad way before that photo was taken.
Yes.
Because for him to be convinced of anything is probably very difficult. He seems like a hard-headed, stuck in his ways type of guy. But for him to be wooed to the other side, to be willing to put on a Halloween costume that essentially it's like a couple's costume.
Yeah. Oh, big time.
And then pose, and then she posts it on Instagram.
And he comments, which remains to be seen whether he actually commented or whether she commented on her post from his account and commented my biggest catch with 3 exclamation points.
Maybe he contributed the 3 exclamation points.
Right. Because we know he uses them. This is actually a good point. I would like to pause the timeline for a second because I think everything we've laid out here, given what we thought we knew about Bill Belichick and what Jordan Hudson, how she's presenting herself, when this was happening, we were like, what on God's green earth is going on?
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah.
How is he letting her do this? How are the people in his life okay with her changing his public persona, essentially? And I think if you actually look at this there's some information you found that I think is important when we talk about who Jordan is. Can you tell people a little bit about like some of her old online activity?
Yes. So I found some older content online. Not going to say where. I found it. You can do your own research.
Yep.
Find it yourself, but not on Instagram. And it seems like, number one, she's into mermaids. That's a fact. If you look at her, on Instagram in particular, she posts a bunch of mermaid-esque content and then found some other stuff that was similar. But it seems like she feels misunderstood and feels like an outsider.
Yep.
And feels like people don't get her.
Yes.
Based on the online activity.
Yes. And some things that seem to insinuate that she didn't always have the easiest time.
Yeah. Yes.
So once we know that about her, and then if you actually look at Bill in his career has been sort of, it's always been him against somebody. Like he was the do your job. It was sort of, he was the hard ass who made the Patriots a not fun place to play. But if you did what he said, you would win a championship. But it wasn't like a partnership.
Right.
And then the Apple TV documentary, he was vilified as the guy who screwed everything up with Tom Brady. But no matter what the situation is, whether he's good in your eyes or bad in your eyes, it's always him singular.
Yeah.
He's the one who doesn't want to join social media. Like, he's doing his own thing. He cuts the sleeves off of his sweatshirts, which is why, why? I always used to wonder if it was because, like, if you dropped like something down a disposal and you have to get it, like you didn't want his sleeves getting stuck in it. Like, anyway, whatever. So if you look at them as these two people who have always kind of at least publicly presented as outsiders.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a world in which they found each other and they were like, oh my God, I feel seen. All of the other stuff is still pertinent. The age gap, his money, her ambition, all of this, his questionable relationship timeline. But I think that multiple things can be true in this situation. And after looking at both of their content and public personas for so long, I think there's a chance that they feel like they finally found someone who gets them.
100%. I agree with everything you said. And I would also add that I feel like maybe the reason that they're presenting themselves so publicly online and pushing out so much content like this Halloween post, for example, is that they feel like it's them against the world. And that they feel like they are misunderstood in society. And the only thing that they can control within like the public sphere is their social media channels. And so maybe they're like, we're going to just prove that this love is real and that we are like in love. We're going to all these events. We're doing all of these things together because we are a united front. And maybe, just maybe, they are a match.
That is brilliant. Yes. I think that that is a huge part of what's going on because both of them have a defiance to their public personas. Jordon is always clapping back a bit. Like, take that, the radio host and the cheerleading thing. She immediately seizes on that and makes her own content out of it. Bill is constantly at press conferences. He would be impossible. You know, they'd ask a question. He'd say, we're on to Cincinnati. They asked another question. We're on to Cincinnati. Like, these are two people who maybe have felt alone in their fight against the world. Now they've got someone else in it and they're just like ready for a fight.
Right.
They are ready to go.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to have that in the back of your head as a possibility while we go through the rest of this timeline.
Yep.
Okay. So Halloween, what happened? What was their first red carpet? Because was this December of 2024?
December of 2024, they make their red carpet debut at the American Museum of Natural History. I think some sort of gala in New York City.
Yep. Okay.
And they look lovely, you know.
Yeah. They're having a great
time.
Not
Not much, honestly, feel like going on there.
No, it wasn't very interesting.
Yeah, red carpet debut.
We were just like, oh, yeah, they're at the dinosaur place. Cool. I love that museum.
It's a great museum.
Quick question.
What?
You know we both love bridges?
Yeah.
Transportation?
Yeah.
Are you into dinosaurs by any chance?
You know, I was talking about dinosaurs yesterday with my husband.
Yeah.
Not really.
No? Okay.
But you know what I'm into at a natural history museum? I guess it's not really at a natural history museum. It's really more at a science museum is when they would have a fake grocery store. Do you remember those? Is that just me?
There's like
interest?
a weird part in the back of my brain that I'm like, yes, but no.
There's a famous one, the
Children's
strong
museum?
Yeah. Oh. Yes, a children's museum.
With all due respect,
not a science.
My dear friend,
the science of operating the cash register. Sorry, not a science museum.
No, but yes.
There's a very famous children's museum. I believe it's called the Strong Museum in Rochester. We had family who used to live there. Okay. If you know, anyone from Rochester. I think it's called the Strong Museum. And they had a fake grocery store, and it was an elite experience. I loved it. I loved working that cash register, doing fake money, ringing up orders, bagging fake wood groceries.
You are so special.
So are you.
Yeah,
you just asked me, am I into dinosaurs?
I would have been right there with you. I'd be like, hello, ma'am. Would you please ring up my apples?
Oh, yeah. And then if I rang up something improperly, you'd be like, you did that wrong.
I'd be like, do it again.
Do it again.
Do it 50 more times.
Get the manager over here who's like a 7-year-old.
Your mom,
like,
it's your mom being like, you two need to relax.
Yeah, relax. This is a fake grocery store with wood grapes.
Oh, God. Did you ever have, there was also the set of like, it was like a wooden apple cut into two, but there was Velcro, so it would stick together, and you could slice it with a wooden knife.
Sensory memory right
I also
there.
think about that a lot.
Took me back.
I think about that, and I think about the roast of Tom Brady.
That's it.
That's all that's in my head.
That's it.
Anyway, okay, so just after the gala at the Dinosaur Museum is where things start to get very interesting from a sports world perspective outside of the fact that Bill Belichick is a sports figure, because there start to be rumors that Bill Belichick is going to coach in college, which he has never done.
No. It felt kind of off-brand.
Yes.
For him.
At the University of North Carolina, which his father had coached at. So that became sort of, people were like, oh, okay, well, I guess. But part of it was also that he didn't get another NFL job.
No. And rumors continued to swirl because Jordon, of course, started following a bunch of UNC accounts before the news was official, and posted, quote, "We're on to Chapel Hill," on a post.
That's wild.
Yeah.
She commented that on a post so that's public. So she's basically acting as his PR strategist. Also, the deal isn't done at this point.
No.
So that becomes a part of the deal, the outside noise. Someone also commented, tell Bill to come to UNC, I think on one of her posts, and she replied 3 days before it was official, quote, "working on it."
Insane.
So we know now, we have proof that Jordon wanted Bill to go become the head coach at the University of North Carolina.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what happens.
Yep.
He signs a $10 million a year job with a base salary of $1 million, which is interesting because it's like, well, there's some clause that he had a buyout where he can easily go back to the NFL, but that's
different podcast.
Yeah, sorry.
Different podcast.
Yeah. My bad. Sorry.
So he officially becomes the head coach of UNC. Hooray. And then cascade of content ensues.
This is where people really start paying attention. Her New Year's post.
Oh my God. Jordon posts a photo. She is bedazzling UNC gear, which I don't remember the last time I bedazzled something. Maybe at a Club Libby Lou birthday party in middle school.
What is that?
You know what Club Libby Lou is?
No.
Oh my God. If anyone listening knows what that is, it was a store in the mall where you could like do DIY arts and crafts, but also pretend you're a pop star. And then they'd make you perform outside of the store in the mall. Traumatizing.
That is either my dream or my nightmare.
My nightmare. It was my nightmare. Anyways,
they make you perform.
Oh yeah. And you have like a fake pop star headset and everything.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
anyways,
talk about that in therapy.
And she posted it with a caption that said, "I found a few moments to R&R, and then in parentheses, rhinestone, reflect, and relax on this fine first day of 25. Some people are out here doing the artist way. Other people are out here bedazzling UNC gear.
Okay. All right. So she did that. They're in Florida.
Yeah.
Which will become important later. Again, Florida keeps coming up. January 6th, 2024. Jordon posts maybe her most bizarre post yet. She is at Miss America's Teen and Miss America. I don't know what this was. If this was this the actual Miss America pageant or was this an adjacent event?
I don't know.
But she posts pictures. She was into pageantry. She did beauty pageants.
Yes.
And there's stuff on her social media about that. She is wearing a light blue, some might say close to UNC blue gown. I mean, looks amazing as always. And posted a picture. This is very interesting, actually. It is with, I believe, Gabby. Do you remember that girl from Cheer, the Netflix show?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's the girl from Cheer. Don't quote me on that. But she's tagged her in other stuff before. So the quote here has to do with the women's suffrage movement, where she then goes on to say, this is the wildest paragraph. It's a 4-paragraph long post, but she says, like feminism, pageantry is malleable and looks a lot different now than it did 104 years ago. However, the essence and mission to perpetuate women's rights and empowerment is never changing. Sure, both quote feminism and quote pageantry have flaws and connotative aspects, as does every other single quote industry, but we are all dedicated to finding the solutions to all of these issues. What is that? What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything. And let me just say, she posted this on January 6th, which is a very odd day in American history to be posting a post about women's rights. Let us not forget what happened in our great capital on January 6th. Did she think about that before she posted it?
Where were you on January 6th? It's like,
yeah, it's just like read the room a little bit, but then also like the subject matter makes no sense for the day, but also the caption just makes no sense, period.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
And there's like weird undertones about feminism maybe not being great. And it starts off, the 19th Constitutional Amendment changed the course of history for women in the United States of America. So this is very America centric.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's where we start to be like, okay, so she clearly has views on things that kind of made us pay attention.
Yes. And her views on things also piqued my interest when I was doing my deep dive on her just general internet footprint.
Okay.
And there were some things that came up in my search that were a little bit questionable.
Okay.
She definitely posted some things during the pandemic that read maybe a little, or to use her word, overtly anti-vax, very anti, CDC guidelines during the pandemic. And it wasn't just one post, it was multiple posts.
Yeah, and things about, mask mandates that she was, and it's one thing to believe those things. It's another to do so in meme formats that are very, very right-wing conspiracy theory coded.
Yeah, they were, a lot of them were memes. Some of them were text-based, but then she did post some memes. Yeah.
So that she also in 2024, around the time of the election, endorsed Heather Sprague for the Maine House of Representatives, I believe. And I found information where Heather Sprague sent a letter saying that the election in 2020 was stolen and Joe Biden is trying to screw over all conservatives in America. And a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. So it's like, as we've said, what we've found so far is that she feels like an outsider. Mm-hmm. She has views that are definitely very contrarian for the sake of being contrarian, is kind of the vibe I gather. She has some controversial views, and she posts a lot online.
Yes.
That's kind of where we're at.
I don't necessarily think it's a coincidence that Bill Belichick is good friends with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Also, when you said contrarian for contrarian's sake, who does that make you think of?
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. So,
in our next deep dive, what Aaron Rodgers and Jordon Hudson have in common.
Oh, God.
Honestly, I would love to watch that.
I mean, we'll do it.
We'll do it if people want it.
Yeah, twist my arm.
Speaking of, Los Angeles, sort of, since we talked about Aaron Rodgers' astrocartography last week and needing to go to the West Coast. So they moved to UNC. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, obviously, we know the devastating fires in LA happened. And she posted a just insane post. Can you tell me about this?
Yeah, it was nighttime at UNC, and there was snow falling on a football field. And I could find the screenshot of it, but basically she talks about how the snow reminds her of the ash in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And again, before I read this, we are not trying to pile on to this woman at all. And also, I think that a lot of the coverage, now is as good a time as any, to say that a lot of the coverage around their relationship is focused on her.
Yeah.
And we have done that as well because she is the one who is putting things out into the world. But I think we have made a very, very conscious effort not to talk about her the way younger women in this situation are usually talked about.
Yeah.
Because it is, which brings us to, the state of women in America. But I just wanted to say that as before I read this, because this is a really weird one.
Yeah, because it takes two to tango.
It does.
Yeah, Bill Belichick is as involved as she is.
Yes. Okay, great. Also, she's young, so she's still figuring out who she is in the world and how she wants to present, and is doing so on a very, very public platform, which is why when she posts things like this, I'm sort of like, But okay, so she wrote, Chapel Hill has been kissed with a childlike ambiance tonight. The innocence and playfulness radiating from Kenan Stadium is simply uplifting and kind. This is with a picture of the football stadium covered in snow. I wish I could lean into such a scene, but I stare into the snow and I see the antithesis. I see flashes of ashes. Amongst the laughter, I hear cries and whimpers from thousands of miles away. My heart is shattered into a million pieces for the humans who have lost their homes and sense of security in Los Angeles. More than anything, I wish I could bend the weather and send this cell towards California. Just
okay.
That to me is sort of a textbook example of taking a tragedy, connecting it to something in your life, and then posting about it thinking that you are doing the conscientious thing, where it really reads as more about yourself. Like, share a donation link.
Share a donation link. Share a GoFundMe. Yeah, agreed.
So, And okay, her next post.
Oh,
This is the best one.
so this is where things get political. If you haven't suspected that already.
Yeah.
She posts something that is, I still think it might be my favorite post.
Same.
Can you walk me through why the president of Croatia is showing up in the Jordon Hudson, Bill Belichick timeline?
Oh my God, I really forgot about how incredible this was. She posts a bunch of pictures from, are they in Croatia? Yeah, they're with the president of Croatia. Bill was receiving an honorary citizenship because apparently his ancestry is I almost said his crustacean. His ancestry is Croatian.
Yes.
And they had gone on a visit there, and then it's a picture of her and Bill and the president of Croatia, and then you zoom out, and it's her and Bill and the president of Croatia and like 5 other dudes in suits. And I have to say, that is an amazing flex, regardless of everything,
It is.
regardless of how you feel about Jordon, about what Jordon Hudson is doing. The fact that she managed to be the only woman in a room, which includes a leader of a country,
is impressive.
Very.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, that one was shocking, but I also think it clued us in to be like, oh, what's this woman's motivation here? What's going on? Because this is beyond just she's dating a football coach who's famous.
No.
Like, you're like, what else is going on here? And the next post really, I think, cemented maybe some motivation that we suspect for her.
Big time.
So she posts a photo on Instagram holding a football. She's wearing like a kind of light blue UNC-esque color dress with a blue seamless backdrop, posing with Bill. And the caption just says, pictured 2 people who are overtly committed to UNC football.
So
And
this is among rumors that Bill hadn't signed his contract yet, and he may be trying to get out or leave before the June 1 cutoff in his contract that blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
There were all these rumors swirling, and Jordon posts that, which is essentially a press release.
yeah, it was essentially a press release. It also looked like a baby announcement.
Yes, because the University of North Carolina are the Tar Heels. So there was a tiny footprint in baby blue on the football she's holding.
Yeah. And so the comments, people are like, wait, is this a baby announcement?
Yeah.
What's going on here? And this was posted January 16th of this year.
Okay. So also this is something you do, I feel like in the partners of athletes, this is something that comes when you have been with your NFL or college football coaching husband for at least 30 years and you're posing together. But she's playing this role. And I think this taken with the president of Croatia post, where I think she used the word quadrilennium.
That sounds right.
Quintennium.
Quintennium.
I don't even
Something
know
like that.
what it was.
Yeah.
It feels like she has ambitions that maybe her newfound public persona is providing some platform for.
Yes, it appears that maybe she's trying to position herself as what can only be described as a politician's wife.
Yes.
And if you look at her past online history, as I mentioned, she's posted about political things before, whether you believe in them or not. So she is definitely someone who does not shy away from speaking her mind about what's happening in the world online. Use the example of the fisherman's post supporting the senator. She is not one to hide how she feels about things going on in the world.
Yes.
So her posting this in a dress and an outfit that I think at least presents like she's trying to be in the spotlight.
Yes.
And maybe the political spotlight.
Yes.
It all tracks.
Or at least the UNC world.
Yes.
Which is why we're doing this whole episode, because it turns out that she is in fact being CC'd on every email that the comm staff sends to Bill Belichick.
Correct.
So, I don't know. Sports and politics, sports can be a great launch point for it. We don't know anything about that. This is just what we are
observing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get to the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl happens, which to me feels like their version of the Eras Tour. They were just doing everything.
Yes.
It was like a 3.5 hour show, but it was a week. It
was
felt like it wouldn't end.
It was incredible. The biggest thing is that Jordon Hudson appears with Bill Belichick and Ben Affleck, Casey Affleck, Jeremy Strong,
Yeah.
in a Dunkin' Donuts commercial. Sorry, Dunkin' commercial.
Oh, excuse me.
They took the
I also want to
donuts
try. Have you
out.
tried a Dunk a latte?
No.
I want to try one.
Same. I love Dunkin'.
I think I'm going to try one after this, actually.
Maybe I'll come with you.
Oh, okay. Come with me.
Look, if any company could sponsor me in the history of the world,
Hello.
like our podcast was built to be sponsored by Dunkin'.
Well, also, I feel like energetically, it's Boston is Dunkin'. No?
Yes.
It is.
It is.
At least sponsor Charlotte Dunkin'.
Yeah, come on.
Come on.
Oh. Anyways, Jordan's wearing a Juicy Couture Dunkin' colored sweatsuit. She also, you know what? I'm actually going to say, just go back and listen to our post Super Bowl episode.
Yeah.
Because there's too much for us to even cover, but she shows up to NFL honors dressed like the Lombardi Trophy, which felt a little on the nose to me.
Yeah.
As, you know, the term trophy wife. And I'm not saying that that is what she is by any means, but there are some parallels here with an older man that feel worth mentioning.
Yeah. One last thing about the Super Bowl. So Jordan posts this awareness post for bystanders who were impacted by tragic events. If you scroll really far back on her Instagram, a few years ago, she posted a very long Instagram post in her normal format of like paragraphs on paragraphs about her witnessing a car, I believe, driving through the front of an Apple store, and about her witnessing it and having PTSD from the event. So her hosting this awareness event, I just want to add that context that it's not that surprising because she posted something kind of similar about her own experience many years ago on Instagram.
Right. And that's actually very helpful context because at the time I was like, it just seemed, I don't know. And Bill, of course, made an appearance at this event.
Yeah.
She also wanted people to be able to apply. So she had a Google form. So, you know, she was
Giving back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the Super Bowl. Valentine's Day, she posted pictures of them together in New York City with a song by a guy named Peter Marshall. Don't know who this is.
Couldn't tell you.
But the title of the song is You're Never Fully Dressed.
Well, we know that Bill is never fully dressed when he left her house shirtless.
Do you think that was a callback to the ring cam?
Honestly, yes. Honestly, yes.
Wow. Okay. Anyway.
Flash forward.
She also posted a video of herself with some seagulls.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Anyway, her family is from Maine, and she makes a big deal about this. At the Super Bowl, she wore a bunch of, like lobster-coated is the best way that I could describe it, outfits. And also, Bill, through this whole thing, whenever Bill is pictured, he has done a very good job of making himself look like someone to whom this is all happening. He just stands there and doesn't say much and sort of looks at her because she is the one who is doing so much, or she's the new person in the situation. She becomes the story. She's also making herself the story.
Yeah.
March really inserts herself. The politics thing comes back into play. There was a whole thing where Trump retaliated against the governor of Maine, Janet Mills, for not supporting a bill to keep transgender people out of sports, which the ACLU has a great explainer on why that is all garbage in the first place. Trump called Mills out. She said, "I'll see you in court." And he retaliated by pulling federal funding from the state of Maine. And part of that was the Maine Sea Grant, which goes to help fishing communities and lobstermen. My family has lived in Maine for like 7 decades. I've written a lot about lobstermen and the industry. And so I did a lot of digging into this, and I wrote a Substack about it, which you can read if you want more information. But the bottom line is that Jordan wrote this Instagram caption as a plea to the president of the United States saying, restore the funding. She also said, I speak for the fishermen have no voice, which is a quote from the Lorax.
Which she has posted a Dr. Seuss reference before on other platforms. I'll just say that.
Okay.
So seems to be a common theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, Bill Belichick wrote Donald Trump a letter in 2016, which Trump read the night before the election in New Hampshire. Also had him on his podcast a week before the election last year. So I do feel like she could have reached the president through non-public ways. She also shows herself pictured with Susan Collins, who in late 2024 said that Elon Musk was doing a great job. So it feels, and I said this when I mentioned it on the podcast and in my newsletter, but, you know, a lot like the guy in the hot dog suit saying we're all trying to find the guy who did this. So, so there is that political aspect of this as well.
Yeah, and I think it only just reinforces this narrative and public persona that Jordon is building around of herself, that she is more than just Bill Belichick's girlfriend. She has all of these opinions. She has a voice. She has an audience, and she has a platform, and she wants her opinions to be heard, whether that means she's gunning for some sort of political angle or not. She's using her platform to speak up for things that matter to her.
Yes. And, you know, this is something that just occurred to me as you were saying that I think part of me is conflicted when we talk about this, because on the one hand, I want to say, you know, good for her for upending the traditional role that a young woman plays in one of these age gap relationships. Like, you know, it's get that bag or go, you know, use that platform or whatever. But it's difficult for me to say this in this instance because I think she's promoting a lot of harmful ideas and supporting a lot of harmful people.
Yeah.
And so that, I think, is why I have kind of a hard, you know, but we talk about her and we talk about Bill and we talk about their relationship. But when you get to sort of the deeper level of like, what does it say about our country right now? What is the bigger takeaway?
Yeah.
That it's kind of that, like, you can play a harmful role even while you are trying to subvert a system.
Yes. And while you're posting your bedazzled jackets, that you can still use that almost as a front to share things that hurt a lot of people.
It's kind of adjacent to the whole trad wife
movement. For sure.
Which I don't think we've really talked about before as it relates to them.
No, for sure. No, I think it's definitely connected to that. And whether she believes that she wants to be a traditional spouse, we don't know. We don't know that.
It seems like she doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like she does. But it's energetically, it feels similar.
Because of like, you know, the whole thing about trad wives is that they're promoting this like 1950s you serve your husband lifestyle, while in reality the people who are making this content have like a team of tens of people, 20 people backing them, making this. They have nannies for their kids a lot of the time. Like they are not living the life that they are promoting.
Right.
So I think that's where I'm at in terms of like what Jordon represents.
Yeah. I also think, just as I said, doing all the deep dive of her other social media posts on other platforms, that she just really seems like someone who I think a lot of these people with these similar views feel, where they feel like an outsider and they don't feel heard or seen in general society, so to speak. And based on what she's posted, it feels like she wants to do everything in her power to prove people wrong.
Yeah.
And if that means she's saying things that are controversial, or she's backing people that are, you know, not so great.
Yeah.
That it's her way of feeling like she can be included in the conversation. All she wants, I think, ultimately is to be included and feel seen and heard.
Yep.
Even if that means she's posting things that have questionable views.
Totally. And I also think that depending on what she's been taught or what she's learned, you know, I think that when she endorsed the woman who has those election denier and her Twitter is riddled with conspiracy theories, Jordon said she wants to save the fishermen. And she and this woman ran a campaign where she talked about how her main thing was going to be helping fishing communities who are really hurting, which is like, everybody should be talking that way. Instead, you know, it co-ops the language. It's like, well, she said she wants to help me. Why shouldn't I vote for her? And it's like, because the things that she will end up backing will end up hurting you.
Right.
But I don't think that means that. I think Jordon probably desperately wants to help these fishing communities.
Yeah.
But that's not it. It ain't it.
No, she's going about it the completely wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think, you know, this kind of brings us to the UNC emails.
Yeah.
And I just wonder how much power she has within the program and how people at UNC feel about that.
I would imagine she has more power than we think, and more power than just being CC'd on an email. And I would have to guess that the powers that be at UNC aren't too pleased with her involvement.
Because you hire Bill Belichick. You know what's so funny, actually?
What?
Is it the Arthur Blank stuff with
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
Falcons? There was rumors that Bob Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, called Arthur Blank and said, if you hire Bill, you get all of him. You get it's his way or no other way. And UNC, it's like, not only do you have Bill and it's his way or no other way, now you've got Jordon.
Yeah.
We should really, for our next episode, we should dive into the UNC social channels and see if
I think we
anything
should.
has changed.
Yeah. That's a great question.
So,
or point. Yeah.
So I think all of this is, it's easy to make it a punchline, or it's easy to make her see. It's all complicated, and hopefully we have done a decent job of laying it out for you so that you can kind of see why we've been so fascinated with this narrative.
Yeah, because this is bigger than her just dating a football coach.
Big time.
I think the public perception and reaction to the situation, us even talking about it, is like a reaction of bigger things than just her dating a football coach.
Yeah, a beautiful young woman with a grumpy old guy.
Yeah, and the fact that she has been able to clearly influence him to be more public, be more online in ways that he never was historically ever.
Yeah.
Is that alone should be studied in psychology classes.
Truly.
Like, her ability to influence him on that granular of a level is so impressive.
Especially for an older man.
Yes.
Who,
he's no spring chicken.
No, as we said, he's a chicken at this point. And it's hard enough to change when you're in your 30s,
right?
Let alone later in life.
Let alone doing AcroYoga on the beach.
Oh my God, I forgot we didn't even
talk about it.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
But
whatever.
Just to wrap that part up, like, yes, I think that that's part of why I think maybe they really do feel like they found their soulmates.
I think that they might be soulmates.
How else could you convince someone to do something if they don't trust you and like feel seen by you on the most fundamental level?
Right. And I will also add, again, not to go back to my other social media research I did on her, she posts kind of like a boomer. She posts a lot of memes and inspirational content sometimes that I'm like, oh, this is like age appropriate for Bill Belichick. So like, no wonder they're a match.
Yeah, energetically,
they're kind of a match.
Okay, so thank you for coming with us on this deep dive as a present for making it through all of our philosophy about these two people and what it says about the world. We are going to end on a really fun note, which is that in Florida recently, they've been there for spring break. First of all, they went to a museum, which what used to be a house owned by a couple with a significant age gap relationship, which Jordan posted a picture of a plaque that explained that whole thing, the Flagler Museum.
Interesting.
Anyway, but the post that everybody, again, sent to us was of Bill Belichick and Jordon Hudson doing AcroYoga on the beach? That was your word. Explain this to me.
AcroYoga is when it's two people and one of the people is hoisted in the air, usually on the person's stomach, doing flips and tricks. I don't know how it's yoga. It's impressive, but I don't know how it's yoga, but it's called AcroYoga.
Isn't that also known as like fly me like an airplane?
I mean, that's what I remember it as a kid. Not as an adult.
It's God, no. Are you kidding me?
No.
I wouldn't. I mean, it's impressive.
No, it's impressive.
Jordan's still got that cheerleading ability.
Oh, yeah.
You posed a question in your newsletter of who took those photos.
Who took the photos?
I think I might have an idea.
Who?
I think it might have been a self-timer. Because if you look at how the camera's positioned, there's a lot of sand, which in the foreground, which makes me think the camera was on the ground.
I think you're probably right. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I was like, someone else is there. It's one of Jordan's cheerleading friends, one of Bill's friends. But you're so right.
But that's such a much more fun answer. God, can you imagine if someone's there taking pictures of them?
I mean, yes, but also self-timer is kind of more iconic because she was like, I want these photos. You know, it wasn't Bill's idea to do acro yoga. That man was upside down, legs in the air, doing moves a 73-year-old should not be doing.
He really was a sturdy base.
He was a sturdy base. Maybe he's her sturdy base. Wow.
Yikes.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, I don't think I have anything else to say on this subject. Do you?
No. I'm all Jordan and Billed out.
I think this is gonna be our longest episode.
I'm a little worried it is.
I think it is.
But you know what? This is we got a lot of responses to
many.
You put a call out for questions.
Yes.
Hopefully we have answered all of those questions in this episode. And if you're finding us because of this story, because this is kind of blowing up, maybe stick around for some of our other stuff because it's also fun and funny, and we do talk about other things besides Jordon Hudson and Bill Belichick.
We do. And as always, please like and subscribe, and please rate and review us on Apple and Spotify. We've seen a lot of new reviews, which thank you so much. It really, really makes a difference.
Yes, we are very grateful. Couldn't do this without you. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side.
Okay, bye.